Everyone wants to have more impact, whether you are a CEO, a middle manager, or a recent graduate. At the same time, most of us are being asked to achieve more with less. But in reality, let's face it, we achieve more with more. Now that's hardly sustainable. The week only has 168 hours, we're never going to change that, and the best time management in the world is just not cutting it anymore. Instead, I encourage you to think about your energy. This is a movement that's coming out of the US, led by Tony Schwartz and being picked up by John Gomes in the UK. Energy management is about four things. It's your mental, your physical, your spiritual, and your emotional energy, and how you manage that. Now I call this capacity. And the great thing about capacity, it's infinite. There is no end to it. At the same time, there's never any arrival, and it can also decrease over time. In essence, it's about lifelong learning and how you manage yourself. So how does capacity fit into the established leadership development arena? I call them the 3 C's. You have competence, capability, and capacity. And here's a practical example how those 3 things go together. Tennis. If you want to learn tennis, you first need to learn how to play the forehand and the backhand. Now that's competence. Then capability is all about knowing when to play forehand and backhand and so forth. But that still is not going to win you any match. You still need capacity. And in tennis, capacity is the ability to read the court, to read yourself, your energy levels, to read the opponent, to have mental toughness, and to be foresightful. Now, what separates the world-class players from the rest is capacity. In my practice, I focus largely on capacity development. I'll still do a little bit of competence development, mainly around the topic of neuroplasticity. That's about the brain rewiring itself. And if you're interested in that, there's another video on my website where I explain this in more detail. Now let's talk about capability development. What do? I coach, I train, I challenge, I support, and I inspire my clients, mainly around the topics of mindfulness, confidence, and authenticity. This is about your inner core operating system, and that's fundamental in order to have impact. So how do I go about creating capacity? One of the tools I use is called API. It stands for Authority, Presence, and Impact. It's devised by Professor Hawkins from Henley Business School, and I've turned his research into an experiential learning format. The great thing about this tool is it applies to anyone in any situation, whether you are the CEO, a middle manager, or a recent graduate. So what does it look like in practice? Together with Stuart Bewley from Amplify Presentations, I created a 2-day learning experience for senior sales managers in Microsoft Mobile. Over the 2 days, people really learn about themselves, what gives them natural authority, what gives them presence in the room, and finally how to have impact with people. And that's really, really important because it's all about people, and you gotta have impact, whether it's a customer, whether it's a stakeholder in your company or your employees. I've also created a half-day version for the Global Biologics division at Sanofi, and this time it's all about change. So having authority, presence, and impact is very important if you are a change agent and you need to convince people that this change is really, really important. You can find more information about these projects in the section called My Work.